Instagram, Facebook, and a few other platforms were down.
Oh, yes.
This is right after Verizon, T-Mobile. I wonder if this is all a coincidence too, because T-Mobile went down.
Is it a coincidence or is it not?
AT&T went down right around elections.
Are you a conspiracy theorist? Because then you would say it's not a coincidence.
It's just
cyber attack.
It could be. Listen, I'm not one to think about things like that, but I was just like, okay, well, AT&T went down, T-Mobile went down.
Could it just be technology?
Yeah, it could be technology. And then Facebook went down on, election Tuesday. And then it's like, why did all of this stuff go down around the same time? Was a goal to
get
a
lot on the power grid.
Was there a goal to stop us from voting or get less people to vote? Could be.
Well, I didn't realize it was on election Tuesday, so I would never have put 2 and 2 together. I feel like if you were going to vote, you were going to vote. You didn't just find out about voting that day.
That's true.
So I don't know that changes anything personally, but maybe you didn't know, had no idea, and that impacted how you were able to move around. But it was down for, what, an hour, 2 hours? How long?
It was down for a couple hours.
Yeah, so it didn't stop everything. So I can't say.
But the challenge would be if there was reminders that were going out, there were text messages that were whatever it was, you might have forgot. So
I guess.
But building a business that is offline is super important because
but how do you do that in this day and age? That's always the question.
It's hard.
I would say I don't know if it's possible, but I guess I don't know anyone personally that has a business that they started completely offline. Now you may not continue to be online, but in some capacity, right? So I was speaking to a friend and she said she's been offline and she's just been getting referrals for her business. But she was like, I'm trying to figure out how to do it without having to be on social media. And I'm like, your email list is the only thing I could think of that you don't have to be on social media. But how you build an email list, you probably got to get back on social media, at least for a little bit, funnel some people in, and then you could turn it off and build your email list in that way. And that's why people always talk about it's important to have an email list or something that is outside of Instagram or YouTube, a podcast, a blog, something else that's more static just in case things go down. Because the likelihood of everything going down at once is like 0 to none.
So think about it like this. Our cleaning business wasn't impacted due to Facebook being down, Instagram being down, YouTube. So you can build.
That was started offline.
So
absolutely.
Our cleaning business was completely built offline, meaning it wasn't based off the fact of our brand or likeness or social media.
But we still use online marketing though. So is that completely different from what you're saying with social media?
I would say absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay.
I would say it's completely different because just because Facebook and Instagram, Twitter went down, and even...
So when we're saying building a brand, you mean building a brand outside of social media, not just outside of online in general.
Yeah, I think when people think about offline, it's a lot of times it goes directly to social media. Okay. When I'm thinking about offline, I'm thinking off of...
When you said it, I thought off of the computer.
No. Yeah, that would be complete. In 2024,
that's what I'm like in this day and age. I don't know how that's
in 2024. If you're trying to build a business that is completely off of computers,
internet, I don't know how that works.
I don't know what the hell you would be doing.
You want to do SEO? Yeah. So just off of social media.
Because even if, at the bare minimum, let's say you just have a website that's still online.
Yeah.
So when I say building something that's offline in a way, I'm talking about building offline of social media, social presence, so that you don't have to be interacting online every single day in order to get clients. So when Instagram and Twitter went down, there were people scrambling, and I even reckon we were busy during that time, but I didn't even recognize that it was down because we were busy doing something else. But when I came back, I was like, oh, this is down, and it triggered me to think about this conversation too, because I checked our cleaning business for the day, and I think we had about 9 cleanings or so, which is like, a couple. It was like $2,500 for that day, and it didn't impact us at all.
Right.
So that's the importance of having a business that is not based off of your online brand, your online presence, or even your personality, because they're not looking for us. They didn't come to our page on social media and say, hey, let me find out where the hot dogs are for the cleaning business. Right. And even so, we don't even advertise our business on these digital platforms. Yeah. So it is super important to have a business that is offline, especially outside your personality.
Now, does that go, we had an episode before talking about building a faceless brand, and I know I see different things that people are saying, like, they don't feel like that's possible, but I think it depends on
the business.
Yeah, it absolutely depends on the business. So like a service-based business, cleaning, mowing, nails, hair, I don't think it really matters what you look like or really how you act until I show up and you don't act right. I'm thinking about like the hairstylists and stuff. That may be a little different. But other businesses, it may not require it. And some it does. Like people purchase from you. A lot of times people say it's not necessarily always the product. It's like they purchase from you because they like you, the person, they like what you're saying, they agree with you, they see themselves in you, that type of stuff. Like that happens, but not for every single product, if you will, or business, if you will.
People buy the story less. People buy the story before they buy the product most of the time. When it comes to businesses like that. When you're just looking for a needs-based business, there is no buying a story. I'm not looking into the long guy story I don't really or any of that. There is a service that I need done. There is someone that I need to do the service, and that's pretty much it. Yeah. So when you think about building a business that is quote-unquote offline or off-brand, you have to think about that as well. Like no one is buying. Most of the time, people aren't buying into your story for a product or service like that. But when it comes to other products, you got to think about that.
Which just reminded me, we had Alani's second birthday party last week, 2 weeks ago, can't remember exactly. We did a little house party at our house, and last minute I'm like, oh, let's get a bouncy house. And I actually used Thumbtack. So it's funny because we have marketed.
What's Thumbtack?
Thumbtack is, what can I compare it to? Well, it's just a company where you can go find service-based business or anything, really. You can find anything on Thumbtack if you look.
It's like a Google for service-based businesses.
Right. But I actually have never used Thumbtack as a customer. I had used it for our business when we were marketing our business starting out, but never as a customer. But I went on there to find a bouncy house, found someone, booked them, not because of what they looked like, just they had a few reviews, asked them, they responded well, asked them their price, was in our ballpark, good to go. And just it being faceless, I don't need to know their story. I don't need to know anything. I just need to know, can you provide the service in a timely fashion? And came to the house, set it up, and we ended up knowing who they were. And
they knew who we were.
They ended up knowing who we were, based off of the cleaning business. But that just goes back to things being faceless and you're still being able to sell, and nobody needs to know that information for specific products. Like it doesn't matter what you got going on in the back. I just know you can provide the bouncy house, essentially.
That was actually funny. They know us from social media. Yeah. So when they pulled up with the bouncy house,
the husband was like, "What's your name?" And I'm like,
we told him our names, and he was like super appreciative. Oh my God, I know you guys from Instagram or whatever. It's just, I can't believe that I'm servicing you guys, and it's just the world is just so small. Now he didn't know us from our cleaning business. He knew us from social media, and he also had a cleaning business as well. But the world is just so small that when you booked them, we didn't care. We just knew that they could provide the service, and that's what we needed. Yeah. And that's all we really cared about. But when you are trying to build a business based on your brand, there's a lot more things you got to think about. So if you translate that to the branding side of it, if he knew us or if he came to our house because we were who we were complete like a-holes or anything like that, it would have been no love there. But people kind of, perceive you based off your social media presence, but then also, the value you can give them online as well. So there are pros and cons to it, but you got to be mindful of those cons.